Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Prostrations to Ramana, shining as the Self in all beings. We begin today's prayer by Sapna Ganesh. After that, we will have the chanting of Muktaka trayam.
दक्षिणामूर्तिसारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमां रमणाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये आङ्गिकं भुवनं यस्य वाचिकं सर्ववाङ्मयम् आहार्यं चन्द्रतारादि तं नमः सात्विकं शिवम् ॐ नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय. नमो Ramana to everyone.
एकमक्षरम् हृदि निरन्तरम् भासते स्वयं लिख्यते कथम् हृदयकुहरमध्ये केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रम् ह्यहमहमिति साक्षात् आत्मरूपेण भाति. हृदि विषमनसा स्वं चिन्वता मज्जता वा पवनचलनरोधात् आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम्. देहं मृण्मयवज्जडात्मकम् अहं बुद्धिर्न तस्यास्त्यतो नाहं तत्तदभावसुप्तिसमये सिद्धात्मसद्भावतः. कोऽहं भावयुतः कुतो वरधिया दृष्ट्वात्मनिष्ठात्मना सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचलशिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयम्. सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचलशिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयम्. Namo Ramana. We will now have the chanting of Upadesa Saram by Uma Sripathy.
నమో రమణ. వాయురోధనా లీయతే మన జాలపక్షివద్రోదసాదనం చిత్తవాయవాశ్చిత్క్రియాయుతాః శాఖయోర్ద్వయీ శక్తిమూలకా లయ వినాశనే ఉభయరోదనే లయగతం పునర్భవతి నోమృతం ప్రాణబంధనా లీనమానసం ఏకచింతనా నాశమేత్యద నష్టమానసో ఉత్కృష్టయోగిన కృత్యమస్తి కిం స్వస్థితిం యత దృశ్యవహితం చిత్తమాత్మన చిత్వదర్శనం తత్వదర్శనం మానసం తు కిం మార్గణే కృతే నైవ మానసం మార్గ ఆర్జవాత్ వృత్తయస్త్వహం వృత్తిమాశ్రితాః వృత్తయో మనో విద్యహం మన అహమయం కుతో భవతి చిన్వత ఐపతత్యహం నిజ విచారణం అహమినాశభాజ్యహమహం తయా స్ఫురతి హృత్స్వయం పరమపూర్ణస. నమో రమణ.
Namo Ramana. We will now have 3 songs from Ramananjali Sangeetam. The first song will be presented by Srimati V. Radha. The second song will be presented by Dr. Pratibha. The third song will be presented by Revathi Sankar.
Namo Ramana to all. Today I have selected a simple Namavali written by Sri Muruganar Swami, and the Telugu translation is by J.H.B. Acharya. The music is by Srimati Sulochana Natarajan. రమణానందుని పాదము చేరి రమణానందుని పాదము చేరి పాటలు పాడుము భ్రమరమా పాటలు పాడుము భ్రమరమా రమణానందుని పాదము చేరి రమణానందుని పాదము చేరి పాటలు పాడుము భ్రమరమా పాటలు పాడుము భ్రమరమా తిన్నగరమణుని పాదము తిన్నగరమణుని పాదము చేరి పాడుము భ్రమరమా చేరి పాడుము భ్రమరమా తిన్నగరమణుని పాదము తిన్నగరమణుని పాదము చేరి పాడుము భ్రమరమా చేరి పాడుము భ్రమరమా వెంకటరమణుని పదపద్మములను వెంకటరమణుని పదపద్మములను ఎరిగి చేరుమా భ్రమరమా ఎరిగి చేరుమా భ్రమరమా వెంకటరమణుని పదపద్మములను వెంకటరమణుని పదపద్మములను ఎరిగి చేరుమా భ్రమరమా ఎరిగి చేరుమా భ్రమరమా వికసిత పద జలజమ్ముల వికసిత పద జలజమ్ముల ప్రేమతో ఘనుమా భ్రమరమా ప్రేమతో ఘనమా భ్రమరమా వికసిత పద జలజమ్ముల వికసిత పద జలజమ్ముల ప్రేమతో ఘనుమా భ్రమరమా ప్రేమతో ఘనుమా భ్రమరమా పాలన చేసిడి ప్రభుని రమణుని పాలన చేసిడి ప్రభుని రమణుని పాట పాడుమా భ్రమరమా పాట పాడుమా భ్రమరమా పాలన చేసిడి ప్రభుని రమణుని పాలన చేసిడి ప్రభుని రమణుని పాట పాడుమా భ్రమరమా పాట పాడుమా భ్రమరమా పాట పాడుమా భ్రమరమా పాట పాడుమా భ్రమరమా రమణానందుని పాదము చేరి రమణానందుని పాదము చేరి పాటలు పాడుము భ్రమరమా పాటలు పాడుము భ్రమరమా, పాటలు పాడుము భ్రమరమా, పాటలు పాడుము భ్రమరమా. నమో రమణ. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. There is a saying in Vedanta that self seeks itself through all of its manifestations. And I just read this quote of Swami Shivananda, which says, "The universe marches upward in an ascending spiral movement to find itself in itself, to know itself as itself, which is called the self-realization of the cosmos or God realization." Sharda Akka has beautifully and poetically brought out this in her composition. She says, Arunachala Ramana is the heart of this earth, manifesting as love and awareness in all the beings. He is using the whole world as his vehicle, and everything is his movement alone, serving him in Atma Pradakshina. Continuous movement of lakhs of devotees' feet doing Giri Pradakshina appears as the sound of mountain stream flowing Abhisheka on pure light of Ramaneshwara Mahalinga. Chirping of birds, singing poetry, plants and creepers offering flowers, trees swaying as chamara fan, and sunlight waving Arati. Everything merges ultimately in the chant of Arunachala Shiva, the Mrityunjaya mantra, to rid of the fear of death, the ultimate and only purpose of human birth. அருணை ரமணன் செல்கின்றான், பனையே வலம் வருகின்றான். அருணை ரமணன் செல்கின்றான், பனையே வலம் வருகின்றான். பூமிரதத்தின் இதயமாக விளங்கும் அருணேசன்தான். பூமிரதத்தின் இதயமாக விளங்கும் அருணேசன்தான். அனைத்துயிருள்ள அறிவன்பாக பொங்கும் ரமணேசன் காண். அனைத்துயிருள்ள அறிவன்பாக பொங்கும் ரமணேசன் காண். அருணை ரமணன் சொல்கின்றான், தனையே வலம் வருகின்றான். அருணை ரமணன் சொல்கின்றான், பனையே வலம் வருகின்றான். 100,000 அடியார் அருணாச்சலத்தை வரம் வருகின்றார். 100,000 அடியார் அருணாச்சலத்தை வலம் வருகின்றார். இதரை அவரிதயமாக ஒளிரும் ரமணம் தனையே வலம் வருகின்றார். அவரிதயமாக ஒளிரும் ரமணம் தனையே வலம் வருகின்றான். அருணை ரமணன் சொல்கின்றான், தனையே வலம் வருகின்றான். அருணை ரமணன் சொல்கின்றான், தனையே வலம் வருகின்றான். சல 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 அடியார் காலடி ஓஷையாராய் ஓடுதே. சல 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 அடியார் காலடி ஓஷையாராய் ஓடுதே. விமல ரமணனின் ஒளிமேனி மீது அபிஷேகமாக பொழிகிறதே. விமல ரமணனின் ஒளிமேனி மீது அபிஷேகமாக பொழிகிறதே. அருணை ரமணன் செல்கின்றான், தனையே வலம் வருகின்றான். அருணை ரமணன் செல்கின்றான், தனையே வலம் வருகின்றான். பறவைகள் பாமலர் பாடி செடியும் கொடியும் பூமலர் தூவுதே. பறவைகள் பாமலர் பாடி செடியும் கொடியும் பூமலர் தூவுதே. மரங்களும் சாமரம் வீசியதே, சூரிய தீபம் ஒளிகிறதே. மரங்களும் சாமரம் வீசியதே, சூரிய தீபம் ஒளிகிறதே. அருணை ரமணன் செல்கின்றான், தனையே வலம் வருகின்றான்.
அருணை ரமணன் செல்கின்றான் தனையே வலம் வருகின்றான். அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ கோஷம் எங்கும் ஒலிக்குதே. அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ கோஷம் எங்கும் ஒலிக்குதே. மரணம் நீங்கும் தருணம் இதுவே மானிட ஜன்மம் பலிக்குதே. மரணம் நீங்கும் தருணம் இதுவே மானிட ஜன்மம் பலிக்குதே. அருணை ரமணன் செல்கின்றான் தனையே வலம் வருகின்றான். அருணை ரமணன் செல்கின்றான் தனையே வலம் வருகின்றான். அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ ரமணா. 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 நமோ ரமண.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. A wonderful song where the self goes around the self, reaching to many other selves. Let us praise this self called Ramana, who is there as the residence of joy, the residence of bliss in all of us, as the source of bliss in all of us. And we have got the Taraka mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya, so that whenever we are moving out of this self, although there is no out and in, but when we are looking at the world, we have to get into all these pairs of opposites and experience it. So we hold on to that Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya, the Taraka mantra, and what does that do? It is the embodiment of compassion. It is the embodiment of light, enlightenment. What does that do? It destroys the darkness in us, it destroys the ignorance in us, and lights the true light which is shining within us all the time. And He's not only the light, He's also the darkness, because the self, there is no place where the self doesn't exist. So it is the darkness, it is the light. And when we realize that there is no darkness, no light, there is only self which shines bright. And when we realize that, we will not have any fear, we will not have any kind of disturbance in our, there is no mind at all. Then where is the question of disturbance in the mind? When the mind gets destroyed, there is pure bliss, pure light all the time shining. Let us praise that Gurudeva Ramana, who blesses the best, that is the self, to all of us. This is a song written by Dr. A.S. Venugopal Rao. This is a song from the dance ballet Ramanodaya. आनंद निलया गुरुदेव रमणा, आनंद निलया गुरुदेव रमणा. ओम नमो भगवते कारुण्य सागरा, ॐ नमो भगवते सुज्ञानमन्दार ॐ नमो भगवते कारुण्यसागरा ॐ नमो भगवते सुज्ञानमन्दारा ಇರುಳೆಲ್ಲ ಬೆಳಗುವ ರವಿ ನೀನು ರಮಣ ಇರುಳೆಲ್ಲ ಬೆಳಗುವ ರವಿ ನೀನು ರಮಣ ಹಗಲಲ್ಲೂ ನಗು ನಗುವ ಶಶಿ ನೀನು ರಮಣ ಹಗಲಲ್ಲೂ ನಗು ನಗುವ ಶಶಿ ನೀನು ರಮಣ ಹಗಲಲ್ಲೂ ನಗು ನಗುವ ಶಶಿ ನೀನು ರಮಣ ಓಂ ನಮೋ ಭಗವತೆ ಕಾರುಣ್ಯ ಸಾಗರ ಓಂ ನಮೋ ಭಗವತೆ ಸುಜ್ಞಾನ ಮಂದಾರ ಭಯ ದೂರ ಭವ ದೂರ ಗುರುದೇವ ರಮಣ ಭಯ ದೂರ ಭವ ದೂರ ಗುರುದೇವ ರಮಣ ಜಯ ದೇವ ಶಿವರೂಪ ನಿಜ ದೇವ ರಮಣ ಜಯ ದೇವ ಶಿವರೂಪ ನಿಜ ದೇವ ರಮಣ ಜಯ ದೇವ ಶಿವರೂಪ ನಿಜ ದೇವ ರಮಣ ಓಂ ನಮೋ ಭಗವತೆ ಕಾರುಣ್ಯ ಸಾಗರ ಓಂ ನಮೋ ಭಗವತೆ ಸುಜ್ಞಾನ ಮಂದಾರ ಅಭಯಪ್ರದಾತ ಅರುಣಾದ್ರಿವಾಸ ಆನಂದ ನಿಲಯ ಗುರುದೇವ ರಮಣ ಅಭಯಪ್ರದಾತ ಅರುಣಾದ್ರಿವಾಸ ಆನಂದ ನಿಲಯ ಗುರುದೇವ ರಮಣ ಆನಂದ ನಿಲಯ ಗುರುದೇವ ರಮಣ ಆನಂದ ನಿಲಯ ಗುರುದೇವ ರಮಣ ಆನಂದ ನಿಲಯ ಗುರುದೇವ ರಮಣ Namo Ramana. We will now have reading and sharing from the book Ramana's Murganar by Sri Nandakumarji.
Namo Ramana. In this the book reading segment of our satsang, we have been reading from Ramana's Murganar, birth centenary celebration, offering to Muruganar's birth centenary, and it is edited and compiled by our founder president Shri A.R. Natarajanji. We have been reading the account of our own one of the founder directors, Sulochana Natarajanamma, and we have the account is entitled Ramana through Muruganar. Ramana through Muruganar. We have come to the place where she has quoted some poetry from Muruganar as inspiration for us. So let's retrace a little bit and start with the poetry part. One lifetime is not enough to dive deep into the world of Muruganar's songs. Muruganar had sound knowledge of music. His very first composition, Ramana Desikpadigam, Ramana the teacher, was in the Carnatic Raga Kambodhi. In his compositions, he would indicate the raga or the pad. Some compositions have always had a special appeal for me. The first song which I would like to refer to is Ayal Ninaya Pattu of None But You, I think. This is in the raga, this is in the Pan Raga Natai, Pantuvarali in Carnatic music, Rupakatada. It is to be sung like the Tevaram song, Punnar Meniyane. The meaning of some of the verses run thus. To Aruna, rich with sandalwood, from Tiruchuli, Venkata, you came, and cast your gracious welcoming glance upon this poor wretch, of whom, but you, O mother, can I think henceforth. The next verse, O dancer, who with lovely red lips, ever smiling, ever dwell in the devotees' hearts, and on Aruna hill, Venkata, you graciously drew me to you and gave me comfort, of whom but you, my master, father, can I think henceforth. I would also like to refer to another composition of Muruganar in the same raga, that is the Pant Raga Natai or Pantuvarali in Carnatic music, but in Aditala. The earlier one was in Rupakatala. This is in Aditala. This is to be sung in the same way as the Tevaram song, Enna Punyam Sedeno. The verse selected is from Adbhuta Path, Miracle. Proud I wandered, being deluded by the thought that the body was I. God Venkata said, no, not that. Ask who I am. Ask who am I. And when the fierce, proud ego dies, then what abides as being? That you are. Saying this, he made me his. Nay, his own self. How did this miracle happen? Muruganar composed Ramana Vaibhava, Glory of Ramana, in Atana Raga, in the Yalmuri Pand, at the request of a staunch devotee, Ramana Padananda. This is a complex pand with a meter that would break Muri, the Veena, Yal, if one attempts to play the melody on it. Such is the story behind the pand. Such is the story behind this pand. But in this intricate pand, one finds Muruganar's simple and supreme love flowing. Mother he is, and father too, apt for every kind of kinship. However you relate to him, he will relate to you back. Yes, apt, and more than apt. He is the womb from which are born all moving things and things unmoving. He is the Hiranyagarbha. Dear child, he is and cherished wealth, rich learning, wisdom ripe. He ever is, and he is the cherished wealth. He is rich learning, he is wisdom ripe, blessed by the mouths that daily chant Vedic hymns to mighty Rudra. He dwells in the mind's eye and the bright unbroken sky, the light of lights that shines within, the deep heart's core, Venkata, all in one and one in all. Seer, in whom all truth is seen, merciful, liberal giver of grace, miraculously strong to save. Yes, he is mother and father too. Mother he is and father too, apt for every kind of kinship. Yes, apt and more than apt. He is the womb from which are born all moving things and things unmoving. Dear child, he is, and cherished wealth, rich learning, wisdom right, blessed by the mouths that daily chant Vedic hymns to mighty Rudra. He dwells in the mind's eye and the bright unbroken sky, the light of light that shines within, the deep heart's core, Venkata. All is one is all, one in all in one in all. True seer in whom all truth is seen, merciful, liberal giver of grace, miraculously strong to save. Yes, he is mother and father too. I would also like to refer to the touching composition from Annai, mother. It is in the Pand Shadari, also akin to Pantuvarali of Carnatic music, and Tala Tisram. This is the verse on Annai. Sage, mother, she says, true sage, from whose feet ever fresh nectar wells up. True sage, mother, she says, true sage. Mother is saying to the child, Bhagavan is the true sage. True sage, mother, she says, true sage, from whose feet ever fresh nectar wells up. Lord Venkata, she says, dwells ever. He dwells forever in my heart. True sage, mother, she says, true sage, from whose feet ever fresh nectar wells up. Lord Venkata, she says, dwells ever. He dwells forever in my heart. Muruganar's compositions have a special aroma and they put us in a mood of surrender to Bhagavan as our sole refuge. The composition Vinay Nikam, destruction of karma, comes to my mind in this context. Muruganar's compositions have a special aroma and they put us in a mood of surrender to Bhagavan as our sole refuge. The composition Vinay Nikam, destruction of karma, comes to my mind in this context, says Sulochanamma. Let us read that last poem. Past karma cannot cling to those who cling to this God's feet. Past karma cannot cling to those who cling to this God's feet. For he shields from harm all those who sing praises of the Lord who dwells in Arunachala. For he shields from harm all those who sing praises of the Lord who dwells in Arunachala, where dwell good souls who cannot dream of harming even foes. Where dwell good souls who cannot dream of harming even foes. Past karma cannot cling to those who cling to this Lord's feet, to this God's feet. For he shields from harm all those who sing praises of the Lord who dwells in Arunachala, where dwell good souls who cannot dream of harming even foes. If we have revenge, if we have harm, then we'll have to take another body to experience the result of that. If we expect phala, we'll have to take another body to experience that phala. So surrender to Bhagavan, Muruganar makes natural in us. We understand that if we expect any harm to anybody, then we'll have to take the body to see that the harm is completed in time. If we expect any phala, we'll have to take another body in time to experience it. So the surrender is natural and total, so that the time itself is obliterated. There is only Ramana's feet, says Amma. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya. Namo Ramana.
Namo Ramana. We will now have self-enquiry session, which will be led by Dileep Simha. This will also be, he will start off with an introduction to self-enquiry, share his thoughts, and then we will have the practice of self-enquiry.
Namo Ramana. Dhyaye Sharada Chandra Sundaramukam Tamraravinde Kshanam Bhaktabhishtabara Pradakaram Kaupinamakrojvalam Svatmanandarasanubhuti Sarvanavadyangakam Rimantam Shri Ramaneshwaram Gurvaram Yogasana Dhyasitam ध्यायेत् श्रीरमणेश्वरम् ध्यायेत् श्रीरमणेश्वरम् ध्यायेत् श्रीरमणेश्वरम् हृदयकुहरमध्ये केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रम् यहमहमिति साक्षातात्मरूपेण भाति हृदि विषमनसा स्वं चिन्वतामच्युतव पवनचलनरोध आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम्। Namo Ramana. We will commence the Atma Vicharam by listening and meditating on Bhagavan's Upadesham. I will be reading his Upadesham from the book Guru Vachaka Kovai, from the chapter Experience of the Truth. The topic is Supreme Reality. Verse 1230, 1230. All those objects that through your mind you believe to exist simply because they are perceptible to the senses become non-existent when you realize the truth. On the other hand, only that entity that cannot be conceived of by you as being either existing or non-existing exists in the Paramarthika, the absolute standpoint. I repeat the verse. All those objects that through your mind you believe to exist simply because they are perceptible to the senses become non-existent when you realize the truth. On the other hand, only that entity that cannot be conceived of by you as being either existing or non-existing exists in the Paramarthika, the absolute standpoint. Here, the supreme reality is opened to us by Bhagavan. But anything that we perceive, anything objective, that object need not be very gross objects like the phone or a laptop or anything. It could be a very subtle objects like thoughts, ideas, concepts. All of them, as long as we are perceiving it, Bhagavan is saying it is perceived by somebody and using a sense. It may be subtle senses like the mind or the intellect, or a gross sense like the eyes, ears, nose, and smell and things like that. So here, Bhagavan is very clearly saying in all of that, we only see something which is non-existing as though it is existing. But in truth, they really are not there. And we know that when we slip from this waking state into the dream, and then from dream to sleep, or we see whatever is there in the waking is non-existent there. So it is all just something which rises, stays, and then again goes away. None of them are really there. So when we inquire, to whom is this? We always recognize, yeah, it all appears to me, the waking, the dream, the sleep. So it is for me. So we come to that which neither fades away. But this idea of who I am may be something different. In the waking, it may be very strongly identified with this name and form. And in dream, it may be in a subtle identity as I. And in sleep, there may not be anything. But still, the absence of the I, the absence of objects, the absence of world is something experienced. And if one asks to whom it was experienced by me, is how we feel it. So therefore, this question, the paramount question, who am I, is the most important question. And by putting that question, we trace what do I really refer to as I within me. And in doing so, Bhagavan is saying, we reach a place where nothing can be said to be existing or non-existing. That mauna alone will remain. And it will be very clearly, vividly experienced, but not through the subtle thoughts, not through some intellectual gymnasium. In that mauna, there will be nobody to even express that it is being experienced. That alone will be there with no separation. That ananya, that non-dual being will alone be there. And that Bhagavan is calling here as the Paramarthika, the ultimate, the absolute standpoint, beyond which there is nothing else. So in explaining how is one to reach that, Bhagavan very beautifully says, the I can go only to inquiring its source, or what do I refer to as I, or where from the I thought rises. That about only to that extent the I can put its effort. Beyond that, something divine rises and consumes all these separations, and that alone remains, says Bhagavan, explaining self-enquiry. So our sadhana in Atma Vichara is only to that extent itself. So no matter how many thoughts rise, no matter what is the nature of those thoughts, whether it is a good thought, bad thought, an ugly thought, or a spiritual thought, if we inquire to whom is this, it will be very clear it is for me, not for somebody else. Therefore, when we inquire who am I, which is what Bhagavan says the ego can do, that is the maximum effort that it can do. It cannot eliminate itself, but it can only inquire about its reality. And in doing so, when it goes on to ask who am I and traces the source of itself, then Bhagavan says, as it keeps on practicing it, something higher power rises and absorbs the ego, and that alone will shine, that mauna, that paramarthika, where there is that non-dual state, alone will shine, and there will be nobody else to say that there was this non-dual state either. So until such time, effort has to be put. So that is what we practice in Atma Vichara for the next 10 minutes. No matter how many thoughts come, no matter what is the nature of those thoughts, let us diligently and recognize it is all for me, and then further inquire, who am I? What do I refer to as I? And with repeated practice and with the grace of the Sadguru, which is the Paramarthika, the higher truth will rise and absorb the I, leaving us with that non-dual experience. And then more and more we dive back into it, the more and more we find it to be the natural truth of us. So with Bhagavan's immense grace, for the next 10 minutes, let us practice Atma Vichara. Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramana. Interesting. Oh. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviram Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Dhyanamoolam Gurur Murti, Pujamoolam Gurur Padam, Mantramulam Gururvakyam, Mokshamulam Gurur Kripaha, Mokshamulam Gurur Kripaha. Ramana. We're doing Manana on Atma Bodha. In the last satsang, we did verse number 45. I'll do a quick recap of that. An individuality is superimposed on Brahman on account of delusion, as the form of man is superimposed on a post. The individuality disappears when its real nature is realized. The example given here is that of an apparition of a man projected upon a post. As long as the post is apprehended as a post, no illusory misconception can arise out of it. The post cannot per se cause false projection upon itself. An illusory projection arises only when the post is not apprehended. Therefore, the root cause of misapprehensions, whether it is in the form of a man or a ghost or other apprehension, is non-apprehension of the real nature of the post. Similarly, the all-pervading, omnipotent, omniscient, eternal Brahman, because of delusion, appears to be a limited individual, the perceiver, feeler, thinker, functioning through the equipments of the body, mind, and intellect, and experiencing the objects, emotions, and thoughts of the world. Just as post is not the cause for illusion of the ghost, Brahman is not the cause for existence of man and its world. Today we'll do Manana on verse number 46, and I request Sapna to kindly chant the same, please.
Namo Ramana sir.
Ramana.
तत्त्वस्वरूपानुभवात् उत्पन्नं ज्ञानमञ्जसा अहं ममेति च ज्ञानं बाधते दिग्भ्रमादिवत् तत्त्वस्वरूपानुभवात् उत्पन्नं ज्ञानमञ्जसा अहं ममेति च ज्ञानं बाधते दिग्भ्रमादिवत्. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sapna. The knowledge born out of the realization of the Supreme Brahman instantly destroys ignorance and I and mine,
like confusion regarding direction, etc. In your delusion, you identify yourself with your material equipments and consider yourself to be the perceiver, feeler, thinker. I. Aham. Having thus created an individuality, you seek your pleasures in the world by contacting the sense objects, emotions, and thoughts. You develop a relationship with the world of objects. It creates a sense of possessiveness indicated by the word mama or mine. These notions of I and mine arise out of ignorance of the Supreme Self. When you realize your Supreme Self, your ignorance is instantaneously destroyed. Your individuality dissolves along with its notion of I and mine. Knowing the Self is different from knowing anything else. The knowledge of Self destroys not only the ignorance of Self, but all other types of ignorance in you. For example, the knowledge of Sanskrit removes the ignorance of Sanskrit. The knowledge of science removes the ignorance of science. But the knowledge of self removes total ignorance. This truth is known by an illustration. A traveler has lost his sense of direction. You point out the east to him. He understands not only the east, but the west, north, and south. Not only these three, but all the other unknown directions like northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest, etc. This example proves that knowledge of one entity can remove the ignorance of all other entities besides its own. Likewise, the knowledge of self removes total ignorance and makes you omniscient. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Namo Namo.
Namo Ramana. We will now have the sharing of Ramanacentre by Sri Ujwal Jagadeesh.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. In this part of the satsang, we were meditating on the verses of Ramanacentre written by Ganapati Muni, and they have been compiled and given to us as Ramanacentre by Ramana himself. And we were meditating on the verses 37 and 38, which are set to a beautiful ragam called Nada Namak Rajan. Devi Shaktiriyam Drisho Shrita Janadvantakshayadaini Devim Shririyam Ambujaksha Mahishi Vaktre Sahasrachade Devi Brahmavaduriyam Vijayate Vyahara Gudapara Vishwacharya Mahanubhava Ramana Tvam Sautuka Prakritaha Ramanam Gurum Namami Ramanam Gurum Namami Devi Shakti Ninna ನೋಟದಲ್ಲಿ ನೆಲೆಸಿ ಅಹಂಕಾರವನ ಶಿಪಳು ದೇವಿ ಶ್ರೀ ಅಂಬುಜಾಕ್ಷನ ರಮಣಿ ಸಹಸ್ರಾಭಿನಯಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಂಬಳು ದೇವಿ ವಾಣಿ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮನ ರಾಣಿ ನಿನ್ನ ನಡತೆಯ ಸೊಗಸಲಿ ಚಿಮ್ಮುವಳು ವಿಶ್ವಾಚಾರ್ಯ ಮಹಾನುಭಾವ ರಮಣ ಈ ಮಾನವನಿನ್ನೆಂತು ಸ್ತುತಿಪನು ರಮಣ ಗುರುವಿಗೆ ನಮನ ರಮಣ ಗುರುವಿಗೆ ನಮನ ಸೋಹಂ ಜಾತೋ ರಮಣ ಭಗವನ್ पादयोस्ते दविष्टो यद्यप्यस्मिन् महति समये शक्तिलास्ये प्रवृत्ते सूर्यस्येव ज्वलितमहसो दूरगाम्नाथ शक्तिं विश्वस्याग्र्यं तव मम मनो वीतदुःखं तथापि रमणं गुरुं नमामि रमणं गुरुं नमामि ನಾನಿರುವೆ ರಮಣ ದೇವನ ಪಾದಗಳ ಅಗಲಿ ಈಗ ನಡೆಯುತ್ತಿಹ ಶಕ್ತಿಲಾಸ್ಯದ ಮಹತ್ತಾದ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಸೂರ್ಯನಂತಹ ಜ್ವಲಿಪ ಶಕ್ತಿಯು ಬಹುದೂರ ಹರಡಬಲ್ಲ ವಿಶ್ವೋತ್ತಮನೆ ನಿನ್ನ ನೆನೆಯುತ ಮನದ ಅಳಲು ಅಳಿಯಿತು ರಮಣ ಗುರುವಿಗೆ ನಮನ ರಮಣ ಗುರುವಿಗೆ ನಮಿಸುವೆ ರಮಣ ಗುರುವಿಗೆ ನಮಿಸುವೆ ರಮಣ ಗುರುವಿಗೆ ನಮಿಸುವೆ. In these verses, Ganapati Muni describes Ramana as all divine mothers. Talking about mothers, he says, "Oh Ramana, how can we describe your love? How can we understand your love? Sometimes the mother may be angry with us, but why is she angry? She wants to correct us. She wants us to grow. She doesn't want us to get in difficulty. If a child is going and touching a fire, the mother will surely scream and maybe even beat the child so that it remembers and does not go back to that danger again. So such is the love of the mother. Can a child understand? The child will think, why is the mother always beating me? Why is she scolding me? So such is the love of the mother which we can't understand. There's a beautiful story which we read in the internet where the two twins in the womb of a mother are having a conversation. One of the twins says, "Do you believe in life after delivery?" And the other twin says, Yes, I surely believe that there is a life after delivery. We are getting prepared here in this situation and we are getting ready for something more glorious and wonderful. And the child who asked the question, what? Oh, it is all nonsense. It does not have any sense. What is life after delivery? How will it be? And the child says, I don't know how it will be, but I'm sure that there will be more light. Maybe that we will be able to walk with our legs. Maybe we can eat with our mouths. And maybe we are taken care. And the child says, the other child who had this doubt, it says, how stupid can that be? How can we walk with our legs? And how can we eat with our mouths? It is not at all possible. We have never eaten with our mouths here in this place. We are given the nutritions by the umbilical cord. And if we go out of this place, the umbilical cord is so short. I don't think it can give us nutrition beyond the one point. So I don't think there is life after delivery. There's only darkness and uncertainty, and there is nothing after delivery. And the child says, we don't understand. Maybe it is something different. It is beyond our understanding here. It is beyond our understanding. Maybe there is some supreme mother who will take care of us. She will take care of us. And the child says, what? Do you believe in this concept called mother? Where is that mother? And the second child says, mother is everywhere. We are surrounded by mother and we are taken care of by that very same mother. And this child is not ready to accept. It says, you have all these wrong concepts. There is nothing called a mother at all. And I am sure there is no life after delivery. This is the conversation which happens between those two twins inside the womb of the mother. And we understand this. How foolish was that first child who told that there is no life after delivery. We all know that when there is delivery, we start breathing, we start eating, we start drinking, and we start living. And we start walking, we start understanding, we start learning, and there is so many things that happens. And our physical mother who has born us will take care of us. And the Supreme Mother Ramana will also take care of us in a mystical way that we cannot understand, but we are taken care of. This is what Ganapati Muni says, "Oh Mother, you are taking care of us." And how can we describe how you are taking care of us in every moment? We can only be grateful for your love. And we don't even know what merit we have done to gain this love from you. And it is the mother who does all the things. Bhagavan Ramana calls Arunachala the mother. And one of his songs in the Ashtakam, he says, Arunagiri ninti gudu jadadariti tiliyararu adhara karyaniti. We feel that Arunachala is standing like an inert mountain. But we don't know what all things that is Arunachala is doing. Arunachala is that magnet. And that magnet is making us all move with the help, with the power of that magnetic field. And it is drawing the seekers to itself. And it is slowly preparing us to unite with itself. And it is ready to give its own state to all those seekers whom it draws, and makes them also Arunachala. Just like how a magnet, when it attracts the iron fillings, it gives its own state to that iron fillings, and it makes the iron filling a magnet. So that iron fillings can attract the other iron fillings. So like that, your divine Leela cannot be understood by us, says Ganapati Muni in the 37th verse. Continuing this, he says in the 38th verse, "O Ramana, I am away from you, your divine feet, where there is so much of action happening, there is so much of glorious dance of mother." He calls it Lasya, Shakti Lasya. The Lasya is just like how Shiva is known for his Tandava. The dance of Shiva is called Tandava. The dance of Mother Parvati is called Lasya. The Tandava is very, very vibrant and very masculine and full of energy. But Lasya is very, very graceful, soothing. There is one beautiful Nama in the Sahasranama of Bhagavan Ramana, which says, Lasya Priyaya Namaha, one who loves the beautiful and graceful dance. That's why Dr. Ambika Kameshwar calls the style that they follow, that is a new name given to that style, which is full of grace, which is full of bhava, which is called Lasya. And he says, at this point of time, when there is so much of dance of the divine force happening at your feet, I am very, very far from you, O Ramana. But I am not sad. I am somehow feeling contented, because I understand, even if I am very, very far, that Shakti of knowledge is like the blazing sun, which can reach very, very, very far distance. We all know that the sun is thousands and thousands of kilometers away. Yet, the sunlight reaches each one of us. Although the sun is so far, it makes the lotus blossom here in the earth. So I understand that even if you are very, very far, your grace is ever available to each one of us, and your grace will transform each one of us, says Ganapati Muni. This reminds me of an incident which happened in the life of Ganapati Muni himself, where he says the distance does not matter. Ganapati Muni has gone away from Tiruvannamalai, away from the feet of Ramana, and he is doing tapasya in a place called Tiruvattriyur near Chennai. And there in a Ganesha temple, he is doing his tapasya, and he has this back pain. Sitting for a long time in tapasya, he's having the severe back pain which he's not able to bear. And he sees that Ramana is approaching him in Tiruvattriyur, and Ramana with his gracious hands touches the head of Nayana, Ganapati Muni, and Nayana feels joyous, and that pain which he was suffering from disappears. And he is elated, and he thinks that Ramana came here physically to save him and bless him. And then many months later, when he goes to Tiruvannamalai and is talking to Ramana in Virupaksha cave, he says, Bhagavan, one day in Tiruvattriyur, you came to me. I was in great pain, but you came and you touched me on my head, and you got me rid of this great pain that I had. How was that possible, Bhagavan? Then the devotees around, they wonder, Bhagavan has never moved anywhere from this Arunachala. He is always there here. How can you say that he was there in Tiruvattriyur? And Ramana says, yes. One day I felt I was getting raised and flying high up in the air. And all of a sudden, I was covered by a white light. And I was somehow transported in that light to Tiruvattriyur. And when I got down, I realized that I was near Tiruvattriyur, and I could see the Ganesha temple that you were meditating, you were doing tapasya, and I came there. And similarly, I came back to Virupaksha cave. And Ramana told, maybe this is the way the Siddhas, the great Siddhas, they travel to various places. Maybe that is the power that they have. So he said, very, very casually, although it was a great mystical experience that Ganapati Muni had, Ramana told, it is all in that Siddhi. It is very, very natural, said Bhagavan to Ganapati Muni, assuring him that the distance does not matter at all. For a great jnani like Ramana, what are these siddhis? He is ever shining within every heart as the self. And that self is the mother who is there with us every moment of time. I keep sharing with the children whom I interact with. They say even our best friend may have to, after playing for a long time, they have to leave us and go back to their homes. But there is this best friend who is there always with us. And that is Ramana, who is shining within every heart as the self. And if we can relate to that friend, if we understand the presence of that friend within, then we are always never alone. We are always taken care, and we always have this supreme friend who is always there with us and taking care of us. To reveal the presence of this friend, this mother who is taking care of us every moment, Ramana has come into our lives. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. We will now have the chanting of Aksharamanamalai by Srimati V. Radha.
Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. மொட்டையடித்தென்னை வெட்ட வெளியில் நீ நட்டமாடின என் அருணாச்சலா, மோகம் தவிர்த்தும் என் மோகம் அவைத்தும் என் மோகம் தீராயேன் அருணாச்சலா. மௌனியாய் கற்போல் மலராதிருந்தால் மௌனமிதாமோ அருணாச்சலா. எவனின் வாயின் மண்ணினையட்டி என் பிழை பொழித்த கருணாச்சலா. யாரும் அறியாதன் மதியினை மருட்டி எவர் கொள்ளை கொண்ட கருணாச்சலா. ரமணன் என்று உரைத்தேன் ரோஷம் கொள்ளாதென்னை ரமித்திட செய்யவா அருணாச்சலா. ராப்பகலில்லா வெறு வெளி வீட்டில் ரமித்திடுவோம் வா அருணாச்சலா. லட்சியம் வைத்தருள் அஸ்திரம் விட்டென்னை பக்ஷித்தாய் பிராணனோடு அருணாச்சலா. லாப நீக பர லாபமில் என்னையுற்று லாபம் என்றுற்றனை அருணாச்சலா. வரும்படி சொல்லில்லை வந்தென் படியள வருந்திடும் தலை விதி அருணாச்சலா. வாவென்றகம் புக்கும் வார்வழு அன்று என் வாழ்விழுந்தேன் அருள் அருணாச்சலா. விட்டிடு கஷ்டமா விட்டிடாதுனை உயிர் விட்டிட அருள் புரி அருணாச்சலா. அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ 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 அருணாச்சலா. அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சலா. அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சலா. அருணாச்சலம் வாழி அன்பர்களும் வாழி. அக்ஷரமணமாலை வாழி. நமோ ரமணா.
Namo Ramana. We will conclude today's satsang with the Ashtottara puja to Bhagavan. The Ashtottara puja will happen at Sri Dileep Simha's altar by Sri Dileep Simha. The Ashtottaram will be chanted by Vaibhavji, Prarthana and Uma Sripathy. We will conclude today's satsang with the Arati song by Pratibha Sundaresh. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya.
नमो रमण। भारद्वाज विश्वनाथ विरचितं श्री रमणाष्टोत्तर शतनामावलिः अपार सच्चित् सुखवारिराशे यस्योऽपि मात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि। ॐ महासेन महंसेन जाताय नमः। ॐ श्रीरमणाय नमः। ॐ गुरवे नमः। ओम अखंड संविदाकाराय नमः। ओम महौजसे नमः। ओम कारणोद्भवाय नमः। ओम जगदीशावताराय नमः। ओम श्री भूमिनाथस्थलोस्थिताय नमः। ओम पराशरकुलोत्तंसाय नमः। ओम सुंदराव्यतपफलाय नमः। ओम कमनीय सुचारित्राय नमः। ओम सहायाम्बा सहायवते नमः। ओम शोणाचलमहोलीनमानसाय नमः। ओम स्वर्णहस्तकाय नमः। ओम श्रीमद्वादशान्तमहास्थले लब्धविद्योदयाय नमः। ओम महाशक्तिनिपातेन प्रबुद्धाय नमः। ओम परमार्थविदे नमः। ओम वीराय नमः। ओम पितृपदान्वेषिणे नमः। ओम हिन्दुमौलिना पितृमते नमः। ओम पितुरादेशतः शोणशैलं प्राप्ताय नमः। ओम तपोमयाय नमः। ओम उदासीनाय नमः। ओम महायोगिने नमः। ओम महोत्साहाय नमः। ओम कुशाग्रदिये नमः। ॐ शान्तसङ्कल्पसंरम्भाय नमः। ॐ सुचन्द्रशे नमः। ॐ सवित्रे नमः। ॐ स्थिराय नमः। ॐ तपक्षपितसर्वाङ्गाय नमः। ॐ पुल्लाम्बुजविलोचनाय नमः। ॐ चन्द्रिकास्थितहासश्रीमण्डिताननमण्डलाय नमः। ॐ चूतवाट्यां समासीनाय नमः। ॐ चूडिताखिलविभ्रमाय नमः। ॐ वेदवेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञाय नमः। ॐ चिन्मुद्रिणे नमः। ॐ त्रिगुणात्मिकाय नमः। ॐ विरूपाक्षभावासाय नमः। ॐ विराजतचलाकृतये नमः। ॐ उद्दिक्तनयनाय नमः। ॐ पूर्णाय नमः। ॐ रचिताचलताण्डवाय नमः। ॐ गम्भीराय नमः। ॐ परमाचार्याय नमः। ॐ सुप्रसन्नाय नमः। ॐ अभयप्रदाय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणास्य निधाय नमः। ॐ धीराय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणाभिमुखाय नमः। ॐ स्वराजे नमः। ॐ महर्षये नमः। ॐ भगवते नमः। ॐ ईड्याय नमः।
ॐ भूमविद्याविशारदाय नमः। ॐ विमलाय नमः। ॐ दीर्घदर्शिने नमः। ॐ आप्ताय नमः। ॐ ऋजुमार्गप्रदर्शकाय नमः। ॐ समदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्यदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्याय नमः। ॐ प्रशान्ताय नमः। ॐ अमितविक्रमाय नमः। ॐ सुकुमाराय नमः। ॐ सदानन्दाय नमः। ॐ मृदुभाषिणे नमः। ॐ दयार्णवाय नमः। ॐ श्री शोणाचलरुद्भूतस्कन्दाश्रमनिकेतनाय नमः। ॐ सद्दर्शनोपदेष्ट्रे नमः। ॐ सद्भक्तवृन्दपरिवृताय नमः। ॐ गणेशमुनिभृङ्गेन सेविताङ्घ्रिसरोरुहाय नमः। ॐ गीतोपदेशसारादिग्रन्थसञ्चिन्न संशयाय नमः। ॐ वर्णाश्रममतातीताय नमः। ॐ रसज्ञाय नमः। ॐ सौम्याय नमः। ॐ आत्मवते नमः। ॐ सर्वावनिमतस्थानाम् आराध्याय नमः। ॐ सर्वसद्गुणिने नमः। ॐ आत्मारामाय नमः। ॐ महाभागाय नमः। ॐ मातृमुक्तिविधायकाय नमः। ॐ विनताय नमः। ॐ विनुताय नमः। ॐ विप्राय नमः। ॐ मुनीन्द्राय नमः। ॐ पावकोज्ज्वलाय नमः। ॐ दर्शनादगसंहारिणे नमः। ॐ मौनेन स्वात्मबोधकाय नमः। ॐ हृच्चान्तिकरसान्निध्याय नमः। ॐ स्मरणात्मन्दमोचकाय नमः। ॐ अन्तस्तिमिरचण्डांशवे नमः। ॐ संसारार्णवतारकाय नमः। ॐ शोणाद्रीशस्तुतिद्रष्टे नमः। ॐ हार्दविद्याप्रकाशकाय नमः। ॐ अविच्युतनिजप्रज्ञाय नमः। ॐ नैसर्गिकमहातपसे नमः। ॐ कमण्डलुधराय नमः। ॐ शुभ्रकौपीनवसनाय नमः। ॐ गुहाय नमः। ॐ दण्डपाणये नमः। ॐ कृपापूर्णाय नमः। ॐ भवरोगविषग्वराय नमः। ॐ स्कन्दाय नमः। ॐ देवतमाय नमः। ॐ अमर्त्याय नमः। ॐ सेनान्ये नमः। ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः।
ॐ श्रीरमण भगवते नमः। श्री अष्टोत्तरशतनाम पूजां समर्पयामि। यस्ताणोररुणाचलस्य पदयोः स्मृत्याजनिं प्राप्यत दिव्यानुग्रहसुप्रवाह विवशस्तादात्म्यभावं गतः निष्ठस्वकभीरनित्यतपसा लोकान् पुनास्येकराट् तस्मै श्रीरमणाय ते नम इदं लोकोत्तरज्योतिषे। नमो नमो रमण सदाशिव प्रभावर्ण नमो महर्षि दर्शन सुख मंगल मुख सकल जीव हित सम्मुख ब्रह्म संगीये सदा तुष्ट सदा हृष्ट सदा शिवानंद पुष्ट परम महर्षि ब्रह्मनिष्ठ समदर्शी नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावर्ण नमो महर्षि ನಮ್ಮ ಮನವದೊಂದು ಕಾಡು ನೀನರಿತಿಯೇ ಅದರ ಜಾಡು ಹಿತವನರಿತು ನೀಡುತ್ತೆಮ್ಮ ಕೊರೆಯ ತಣಿಸಲೈ ಬೇಡಲೆಂದು ಬಂದ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿಯೇ ತಣಿವೆವಯ್ಯ ಮೂಡಿಗಾರನೇ ಹಿತವ ನುಡಿದು ಪೊರೆ ನಮ್ಮನು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಸಂಗಿಯೇ ನಮೋ 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 ರಮಣ ಸದಾಶಿವ ಪ್ರಭಾವರ್ಣ ನಮೋ महर्षि जय बोलो भगवान श्री रमण महर्षि की जय।